Dun da da da! What's going on, guys? Welcome to next week's preview video for our Big 12 Team Builder Dynasty. We have some big-time news. Paris Austin has committed to Odessa State, not ACU or Broken Arrow.
Wow.
He hates Bryant Street, obviously.
Well,
right?
you know.
No, Gunner Rivers, excuse me. He hates Gunner Rivers.
He's been talking some trash about Bryant Street, too, a little bit.
Right.
But, yeah, Paris Austin, that's big news. So that big win is really, I mean, you see the dividends right here. And we had a couple more updates. We see Kadir Childs Harris has committed to Odessa State. And Ricky Scroggins, you are going to Odessa State.
Huge. So we just saw that Odessa has been cleaning up. Let's take a look at what Little Rock is doing in their recruiting board. We got Gerald Hicks, Andre Baker, Eric Grigsby, Larry Butler, Tywan Davis all coming for visits this week. And if we go ahead and we sort by overall ranking, Justin Davis, who is also considering Odessa after, like we talked about, that big win, yeah, it really vaulted Odessa State. Now, he's the #1 quarterback in
his #1
this
pocket
class.
passer, yeah. So
yeah, we need this guy for Little Rock as the heir apparent to Gunner Rivers. But however, Justin Davis is probably looking at the Odessa situation saying, hey, yeah, you got Dowdell, but you don't have the #1 quarterback, okay, from last year. This is me.
he thinks I guess he thinks he can come in and compete with Dowdell, or he can sit for a year, 2 max, behind Gunner Rivers. Up to him right now, I guess.
That would be back-to-back #1 quarterbacks that they landed, that Buddy Monroe would be able to land. Gunner Rivers being the first one. Larry Butler, the guard, #11 run blocker, Florida State, Georgia Tech. He seems to like the ACC. Gerald Hicks, the #1 cornerback, 79 overall, is considering Florida State. No surprise here. He is from Florida. You're going to have to do a lot of things to pull him away. Little Rock is doing their best. I believe that they have a visit. They do. It's this week. So a lot of bonuses still yet to be had here if Little Rock is able to add those to the stats to try to nab them. Brandon McKinney is starting to lean more towards Little Rock than Ardmore. Last week we saw that Ardmore had him in first place, so we're going to actually have to go harder at him in order to try to nab him. Jack Johnson in first as an athlete. And I want to check out real quick, what does he do? He's an 88 speedster. He is not a quarterback. Spin move, 82. So he seems like he's either a wide receiver or he's a running back.
Defensive back.
Yes, the press is a 73, zone coverage 83. Yeah, this is something that they need. They need a guy like Mr. Jack Johnson. Andre Baker has a visit, then a linebacker in first place. So all in all, a lot of good things. We also have a quarterback, a #8 quarterback.
Dennis and Smiley.
Right. Yeah, right. Chris Dennis, #7. So, yeah, a lot of guys, a lot of these quarterbacks are really liking Little Rock's play style here. It would really benefit both players if they were able to nab him, but obviously the first choice is Justin Davis for Little Rock.
All right, let's check out the Matadors. They had a couple early signing successes here, but overall, this board is not the greatest I've ever seen. They do want to get this guy, Josh Weeks, out of Galveston. Brandon McKinney. Now, I got one lock to break, and I think I'm going to let Anderson go. I'm going to leave him hanging out in the wind. Brandon McKinney, I think, is going to be the guy that we... Actually, we have 2 left, but I'm going to save the other one. McKinney, we are going to bust through and get into the mix. I got a lot of points left to spend, so coming after you, Little Rock. Dan Frazier, we're down by 1,000. Cooper, losing to Ardmore. Pierre, so this is what I'm talking about. Like, they're looking okay in a few spots, but overall they are a little bit behind, I would say. Dwayne King there, Carl Everett. We got a visit, so we're going to keep that going. Robert Powell, I want that guy. Jimmy Brown, you are gone, my friend. James Coles, like, I don't know, they're not sealing the deal on these late picks here.
That Jimmy Brown wide receiver was a 5-star, correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Odessa, they get Paris Austin and that guy. This is insane. They're coming for the Big 12.
Yeah, they are. They really are. Ryan Bradshaw, though, is looking at McAllen. We got him off of that visit last week against Broken Arrow, and he is pretty happy there. Hope UNLV just had a visit. Yes, okay. So we're going to stick with him. Jason King, linebacker. Julius McGee. I like that name. Stephen Kelly. Throw some on him there.
I still think that's hilarious. Eric Winston was a offensive lineman in the NFL, and he's a center here.
Yeah. I want to get this guy really bad. Billy Brink.
I've never seen that last name.
I haven't either. It's great. And then Joe Sloan. Ooh, Nebraska State is contending with McAllen for the services of Joe Sloan. Custom recruit.
Last up in today's cycle for recruiting updates, we have Amarillo, and they're not doing too bad, in my opinion. Now, I say that with a little bit of reservation because you guys are going to see as we scroll a little bit further down.
Yeah.
What was the word you said? Carnage.
Carnage, yeah.
That was the fallout of the Odessa signings.
Yeah, like West Texas is pretty competitive for recruits, obviously, and they were looking at between Amarillo and Odessa for a lot of these guys, and then that win and that atmosphere really pushed them towards Odessa. So, but this guy, I like this guy, Brandon Lee, out of New Mexico. That's a guy Amarillo needs. I think they need him.
Yeah, I mean, he can do it all. It seems like he's elusive. He's got that 85, the juke move. The injury's pretty solid. The carrying's pretty good. Break tackle's good as an 80. Yeah, he's a grinded out type of guy, and I feel like that this is going to be a good get for Amarillo. They need a player like that. D'Anthony Okobo is leaning towards Amarillo. Arkansas
Sunbelt
State
teams they must have had some visits, but hopefully the Big 12 we can get back up there.
Yeah, they need a guy like this too, as well. Joseph Pierre, a corner, 78 overall, trying to compete with Midland State.
They could hurt Midland because, like we talked about, Midland's so desperate for defensive backs. If they plucked Pierre away, that would hurt Midland quite a bit.
Yes. Jason Gibbs, a free safety, 77 overall, number 5 in the lead. I'd like to see that. Jimmy Brown, we're shooting for him. He is gone. Pierre Meyer, though, we are shooting for him quite a lot here. Let's put some more points there. Now, you guys will notice up in the left-hand corner here, 5960 of 6,500. We will be removing some of these players and adding people to Amarillo's board. We just wanted to add these guys in here and just let you see.
Give you a visual right now.
Right. Another guy that we've talked about in the past is Justin Davis, and again,
he might as well sign the dotted line.
Yeah.
Or for Odessa, because Odessa Rockets to the front. I mean, he's going to Odessa, it looks like.
Right, and even if Little Rock's still got a visit coming up, right? So
yeah.
It's a two-team race. Amarillo seems to find themselves out of it. Copeland, Bush, Childs Harris.
What's the Bradshaw update? We broke the lock there. He just had a really successful visit for McAllen, so I put him about 1,000 points ahead of his competition, but Amarillo has broke the lock.
Yes, and we're going to keep pushing at him because now we have a lot more points to spend, right? That's probably the silver lining of when players come off your board, is then you can now say, okay, you're not coming to us because you're already gone.
Narrow that focus.
Paul Alvarez, the defensive tackle, is way in the lead. Notre Dame and McAllen are behind us, so no points needed there. Drew Bonds, pretty solid wide receiver, but again, Amarillo doesn't really need receivers at this point, so not a whole lot of attention being spent here, but we are in second and right behind Little Rock. Nathan Hearn, again, this is why we don't have a lot of focus on wide receiver. We've already got a depth guy here in Nathan Hearn. Joseph Larriere, number 2 athlete. No, well, not number 2 athlete, but number 46 athlete, but we're in second. Scroggins is gone. King, Williams, Eric Baker, a tight end.
You got some guys on the bottom there that are looking at Amarillo, so...
Yep, so we're doing pretty good. Amarillo's not doing too bad.
Those guys weren't looking at us. But Chi-Chi, we got 700 on Chi-Chi Montoya.
Chi-Chi.
So he just had a visit. Amarillo, back in first. I like where that is.
Where that's fast.
Some people come up the pipeline. Brad Miller.
They need this guy. They need this guy, like this little skinny little dude.
Ed Moss.
6'7", 4'4". Okay.
But I hope he locks us out. Oh my God.
What?
Ryan Hayden. Georgia Tech. How did Georgia Tech get him? All right, top 25. Denver has eclipsed ACU with their win over Ardmore. As you can see, Ardmore was holding on to that 11 rating. And then we got a lot of non-Big 12 teams here. I guess losing will do that. Ardmore is going to be sitting at 5-2, ranked 11th.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I'm choosing to look at things positively even after we lost Hicks.
Yeah, and McAllen at 15. Midland State going to be 17, Shreveport 18, Little Rock 20. So you can tell the theme here. We're starting to beat up on each other. Kansas A&M going to number 24, and UBA 25. So obviously nobody's receiving votes since I think that, what are we at, 9? Should be 9 teams ranked. There's 5, 4, or 6, 7. Yeah, so we got 9 teams ranked.
Time for the Heisman Watch. Harkless Blair is in first place.
Wow.
What is happening here? Bryan Street took a little bit of a tumble there. Not sure exactly why. Maybe it's because that matchup really determined. Yeah, they lost to McAllen. But Street put up more numbers. 4 touchdowns, 277. He had kind of a better game in my opinion.
Yeah, it almost makes me wish that we showed this game. But honestly, I mean, like who saw that coming, right?
Not me.
Time.
No, not me. Claudio Keller kind of took a little bit of a dive there too, even though he had a pretty good game, man. Touchdown, 6 catches, 21, 121.
I mean, look, you lose to Odessa by 19
hurts.
points. That's going to happen to you.
Yeah, this is crazy, though. I feel a little bit gypped here. Harkless Blair is going to win the Heisman?
Maybe.
Can't happen.
All right, Players of the Week. We have an NCAA Player of the Week update. Gunnar Rivers, 26 of 33 for 367 and 7. Yes, you read that right. 7 touchdowns. So it's like Big 12 defensive player DeMario Chavis had 2 picks. But it didn't amount to anything, as usual, for the Armadillos.
Injury report, Ardmore only missing junior quarterback John Hicks. This is a big
we
blow.
talked about it. We spoiled it last week. But, yeah, dislocated elbow. How are you going to come back from that?
I don't know. I have no idea. We're going to have to totally revamp the offense because Stanfield is not a scrambler. He's more of a pocket passer, and
that's not what Tremaine Young wanted to do.
Exactly. This is gonna be it's bad. It's bad.
It's gonna be challenging.
I said I was gonna look at it positively, but I don't know how else to spin it. Michael Reed, right outside linebacker, freshman.
This is a depth guy, yeah.
Out for a little while.
Trevor Erickson's still going to be out. He's going to be questionable, maybe. Let's see the rest. We saw Evelyn and Ledbetter. They're getting better, but still quite a ways away. And then a couple, these tackles might come back, Romine and Smith. That would help Odessa State pretty soon in the meantime. Kerry Bush, going to be out for 1 week for Shreveport. And that'll do it for the injury report.
Conference standings time, guys. A little bit of a preview for the next week. ACU 7-0, McAllen 7-1, 3-1 in conference. 2-2 Little Rock, 2-2 Broken Arrow, 2-2 Shreve, 1-2 Ardmore. So guess what, guys? Ardmore is still not out of it.
You're in last place.
We're still not out of it because guess what? We're kind of out of the woodwork now. Yeah, we have ACU left. But we get McAllen, we get Little Rock,
all
we get
4
Little
of
Rock
these
this
teams.
week. Yeah, we could easily make up some ground, but we're going to need a little bit of help. We're going to need some teams to help us out here and beat teams they're not supposed to. And if we can pull off an upset against ACU, we've beat them before, just like we've beaten Denver Tech before. We can do this. But not talking so much about me anymore. McAllen is the interesting pick here because is this a team with Heisman hopeful Harkless Blair? Is that a team that could possibly challenge ACU?
It could. I mean, like our focus with Shreveport was a Cinderella for a minute, then they lose 2 in a row, and then Broken Arrow had our attention, and then they lost to Utah and Denver early. Now they just lost to McAllen, so they're 2 games behind ACU. So it's kind of like McAllen has been the team that surge ahead.
I like the way you're thinking with this because what does this say then? What does that say?
Seems to me like every time you count a team out, then they're the ones who come back and get in play. But ACU's still sitting up here unblemished.
That's very true, but when is their time? When is their time that they're going to fall, and who's going to fill that? Who's going to fill that hole? Is it going to be Ardmore? Everybody's now counting
hopefully
us out.
not,
Everybody's counting us out now.
Hopefully not, because you don't play them until the last week. So somebody has to knock off ACU soon. And then Denver. Oh boy, yeah, ACU Denver.
Nothing changes.
No, the more things change. Nebraska State 1-2, KMU 1-3, Amarillo 1-3, Odessa 1-3. What do you think about their bowl hopes here, Amarillo and Odessa State? Because they both need to find 2 more wins somewhere.
They can do it. The offenses, they can do it. They can score.
I think if Odessa really wanted to do it, their chance was Amarillo, and they blew it. They lost that game that they shouldn't have. I think KMU is going to get back on track, which is going to hurt these 2 squads. And then, just speaking for myself, I think I'll handle Amarillo and Odessa. But you never know. All right, pretty light week. We got 4 teams on a bye, so 8 teams are in action here. We're going to have Odessa State, Nebraska State. And now we have some visits, which is good news for the Prairie Dogs. What do you think's going to happen here? Because Odessa's coming off that huge win against Midland. Now their offense is looking scary again. They hit a couple roadblocks against Shreveport and Amarillo, and now they are on track.
Odessa State's offense, while you're playing against them, is extremely tough. They like to run those double out routes plus the slant up the middle play. That's a play that they always like to run when you're playing against them. That's always a tough one. So if they keep running that, they sprinkle in some draws in there with Logan Sweeney, it's going to be tough for you to hang in there with them and to stop them in general. But your offense can score. Your offense can hang with them offensively. Now, is it going to come down to a turnover? Probably. And guess who I like in that battle?
Odessa?
Yeah.
Oh,
you are going to have to, if you can run the football, like you know how to do.
I have the last 2 weeks.
Nebraska State should take care of business if you can run the football.
No.
Now, if you guys start to see him throwing all over the place, well, then you know what's going to happen. Odessa State will take care of business on the road and get this W and be 1 more win away from being bowl eligible.
I think I'll be all right. I'll pick myself. The one thing I will like is our rush defense is probably going to get even better. From 87 yards per game, we're going to go down.
It's about 70.
Yeah.
Kansas A&M and Denver Tech, number 24 against number 1.
Hassan Bonner's visiting. This is going to be big news. Both, obviously, the rushing games are going to be a factor. I think I've picked, and maybe you as well, I think we have both picked Kansas A&M to knock off Denver for the last 2 years.
Yeah, we have.
And they haven't done it. They came pretty close last year. With, I believe Jace Freeman was under center for that game.
Yep.
So
the only difference in this is that Alex Makovich's health, he's now back. The question is that you have a Kansas A&M team who got their win last week against Amarillo, but now they're starting to kind of fire on all cylinders here now. I mean, maybe that was just an element of playing against Amarillo. That was a nice cure to their offensive woes. I don't know. I don't know. I want to pick Kansas A&M, but every single time I always call for Denver Tech to get bounced. It doesn't happen. So the only question mark for me is is Makovich healthy enough to win the game? I think that they'll be fine because they like to run the ball anyway. Schmidt goes for over 150, and Denver Tech wins.
I'm going to pick Kansas A&M. I'm just going to do it.
Well, you'll probably be right because now I decided to do it.
I picked against Denver Tech for 3 weeks in a row, which is really stupid.
That's not smart.
I picked Little Rock, Broken Arrow, Ardmore. Now I'm picking Kansas A&M. I just think it's going to be their time. All right, next game up, ACU and UBA. You got number 2 versus number 25, and we have the number 1 and number 2 passing offenses. Both defenses also respectable, especially in our conference. I see a good turnover differential. I see points per game, aplenty. What do you think is going to happen here? Are we actually going to get a massive upset?
Well, it didn't happen with Broken Arrow against Denver Tech. Could it happen here against ACU? I have no idea.
Well, I mean, they just lost to McAllen. Really close game. We see the numbers here for UBA. Lost by 3, but they were playing pretty well right here. And even that game was against Denver was really a good showing. So
their offense is legit. I'm not taking that
yeah.
away from them. But ACU's defense is just as legit.
Yeah.
Pass offense is number 1. Uba's pass offense number 2. Right? Look at their pass defenses, though.
Right.
This will be a shootout.
I'm going to go broken here.
Wow.
I'm just going to do it.
Okay, here's my reservation. If this game is being shown as the third game, I'm taking ACU. Because guess what happens every time with Brian Street in the pocket?
He starts to run around.
He runs around all over the place, and that's where he's going to fall right into the arms of Todd Parker, Price Greer, Matthew Kennedy. The list goes on and on. Armendariz. The list goes on and on and on and on and on.
Right.
This defense is legit for ACU. If it's simulated, I'm still going to go with ACU. And I'm going to go with ACU in a shootout. So no matter how you slice it, for me, I'm going with ACU, number 2 team in the
Well,
league.
see, now this is the kind of week where we would show 4 games because this conference is way deeper than it has been recently. Got more things at stake, so
Brian Street, this could be your Heisman campaign right here. You get this W, this could solidify that Heisman W. All right, and finally, matchup between Ardmore and Little Rock. So we have not played a legit quarterback yet this season. I would argue that. We have not played a extremely legitimate quarterback.
Whiteside was the best he played.
Yeah, he is. And Gunnar Rivers coming off that 7-touchdown performance, it's a legit quarterback. So that's going to be the question mark for Ardmore's defense in this game. Again, with Hicks being gone, we can't really neutralize Gunnar Rivers any longer. Or in this game, in the game plan, you can't really run the ball as much as you would if Hicks was in the lineup. So Stanfield's going to have to go toe for toe against Gunnar Rivers. And quite frankly, I don't see that happening. I think that this is going to be a shootout, just like we were talking about with ACU and Broken Arrow.
Yeah, I think Hicks is, or not Hicks. I think Stanfield's going to do it.
He can. Gonna win. He can. It's going to be hard. We're on the road again.
Just feed Shook. Get Shook.
Yep.
Jake Wood. Get those guys going. That'll help Stanfield out. I think Stanfield does it.
Yeah, I will. I'll be confident in myself in this one. I'm going to go with Ardmore, but don't be surprised if Little Rock ends up winning here. Again, they're at home. So that's going to be it for today's preview video, guys. We will see you next Saturday. Actually, this Saturday, excuse me. And your picks and your standings have been updated as well, so make sure you go to the website, goldwebergaming.com, or join us in the Discord as we post those links as well. We've also got a lot of chatter for Team Builder talk, amongst other content talk. So we will see you guys either in the Discord, in the comment section, on the website, or next Saturday. Leave a like if you like this thing. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that red button for subscribe or my logo in the bottom right-hand corner. We'll see you guys then. As always, peace.